A spike in synthetic drugs in Onondaga County. We'll tell you where police are seeing an increase and the one type of drug they're now finding.
And many people in New York are out of some money after the FBI says they invested in a Ponzi-like scheme. Coming up, we'll hear from the man himself accused of running it and who his victims were.
Plus, it's the week after the tax filing deadline. We have experts back here to answer your questions tonight. What to do with that refund? Call the tax time 411 number 315-477-9480. They'll be here until 6:30 tonight.
But first, we begin tonight with synthetic drug use on the rise across central New York.
And U.S. Representative John Katko, along with local law enforcement, are warning tonight about the dangers of using the drugs. Well, last week, the Upstate Poison Control Center says it received more than 30 calls within 72 hours about the drug spike within the county.
They all appear to be related to one specific substance labeled potpourri, Mr. Big Shot Barbados Blitz. Quite a name. Now, ER staff says victims who ingested this substance became aggressive and violent towards themselves and to other people, too.
Now, Syracuse police say they responded to more than 20 overdoses, 3 on the north side of the city, 2 on the east side of downtown, and 4 on the west side, also 10 on the south side of Syracuse. New at 5 tonight, Sarah Beth Ackerman joins us live from outside the Syracuse Police Department headquarters with more on this growing problem. Sarah Beth.
Matt, Megan, this spike has become a tremendous strain on law enforcement. That's why Syracuse Police Department actually held another conference at the Public Safety Building, alerting the public just how dangerous these drugs are. In the last month, there have been 40 documented overdoses on synthetic marijuana, and in just last week, there have been 20 overdoses in Syracuse. People are getting their hands on these packets at corner stores and on street corners. These packets are being labeled as not for human consumption. The people are taking substances and having extremely dangerous effects. Officers who find these drugs are having symptoms like anxiety, heart attacks, seizures, foaming of the mouth, and hallucinations.
This stuff is extremely dangerous, and we've just described some ways, and it goes well beyond that. You know, we have a mother standing to my left that lost a son, and if that's not enough for those who are out there that's considering doing this or has done this, or if that's not enough to get you to stop and say and to turn away from this, I don't know what more we can do.
Coming up at 6, we will actually hear from that mother who lost her 19-year-old son to synthetic drugs. For now, reporting live in Syracuse, I'm Sarah Beth Ackerman.
Thank you, Sarah Beth. Certainly a serious problem in our community. Well, cloudy and windy at times today, but then it didn't stop people from getting outside, trying to enjoy what they could. You can see here, this is Lincoln Park in Syracuse today. Very dark skies out there, typical of most of the day. And one man had his dog out for a walk. Sometimes dogs, you know, no matter what the weather, they got to do the business.
They certainly do. We saw the rain turn to clouds and maybe some rain again. Let's find out when it gets here. Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar has a look at your forecast. Wayne?
All right then, Megan and Matt, we are watching a line of showers and storms over western New York, and that is headed in our direction. But for right now, at least over the city, we're dry. Here's a look at the Stanley Law Skywatch overlooking the city. Route 81 from Adirondack Furniture, clouds, intervals of sunshine here and there. But let's go to live triple Doppler radar brought to you by Cayuga Community College. Got a couple of plain old showers now breaking out across the Finger Lakes. These may start to work into the Onondaga County region, Syracuse area over the next hour and a half or so. But more important, out here across western New York, approaching Rochester, that's a line of some pretty strong thunderstorms out here with locally heavy rain and gusty winds. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings already in effect out there, like for Rochester, and that line is going to be heading in our direction. And eventually, once we get the plain old showers out of here, we're going to find the line starting to work its way on through here. And you can see it there just approaching Rochester right now, and that is going to make its way on into the immediate central New York, Syracuse area. Probably 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening, working through from west to east across central New York. And some of the storms could be strong and gusty. We're going to keep an eye on those. So here's your fastcast then. Showers and storms around at least through the mid to late evening hours. Some of those could be strong and gusty, tapering off after 11 o'clock or so. Tomorrow, cloud, sun, breezy, a scattering of showers here and there, maybe a late day thunderstorm. High tomorrow at 59 degrees. I'll be back to tell you about more on that line of thunderstorms and more about what does the week ahead hold in store for us. All that coming up.
There they go. The 119th running of the Boston Marathon got underway first thing this morning. You can see the weather was a factor today, although it dried out by the time the leaders finished later in the morning. More than 30,000 runners were expected to take part in the historic event. Covers 26.2 miles from Hopkinton to Boylston Street in Boston. Of course, these are pictures from 2 years ago when the Tsarnaev brothers exploded those pressure cooker bombs amongst the people. Today, a much different scene as they remembered the people who were lost that day. They also cheered on the winners in the competition.
The women started first, then the men. And in the women's competition, Caroline Rodich of Kenya is the winner with a time of about 2 hours and 25 minutes. And on the men's side, Ethiopia's Lasisa Desisa would take control of the race in the closing miles, then run away with a decisive victory in just over 2 hours and 9 minutes. Just remarkable to see how fast these runners are.
Yeah, it is. And I just was quickly searching on the Boston Marathon website for a whole bunch of Syracuse runners. Chris Rowley among them, well known in local circles for training hard and running fast and finishing that marathon, doing very well representing Central New York today.
Congratulations to all those runners. Well, a malnourished dog is recovering tonight after he was found tied to a tree in Lysander. The Central New York SPCA is now taking care of Hank, the French Mastiff. He's about 50 pounds underweight. They found him near the same place where another starved dog and dead cat were abandoned back in January. The SPCA says they don't know why the animals are being abandoned in the same location.
2 teens in Seneca County are facing charges after deputies say they attacked staff members at the Hillside Children's Center in Romulus. The center provides care to teens with a range of emotional and behavioral issues. Last night, deputies say several teens attempted to break in to another part of campus and ended up attacking staff members. One person was hit in the head with a glass coffee mug. 2 staff members suffered minor injuries.
Tonight, Camillus police are warning homeowners to keep their doors and windows locked after a string of burglaries. Police say there were 5 burglaries off Peridot Drive, Gordon Parkway, and at unlocked homes. The thieves took small electronics, purses, and other personal items.
Well, it's the week after your tax return was due, and if you're not happy at how much you paid or maybe got a big refund, you're trying to figure out what to do with that money or your finances in the coming year. Our Laura Hand is standing by right now at 5 o'clock.
That's right. We have financial planners with us tonight to help you get through the next 12 months. That long before the next taxes are due. Yvonne Norelli joins us right now. She is with Security and Investment Advisors in Canastota.
Hi,
Thanks
Laura.
so much for coming in.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so you paid too much. What do you do now?
Well, basically, you want to take a look at what your withholdings were. Possibly you had a life-changing event and you just don't have enough taken out of your W-2s while you're working. You might want to take a look at if you have 401ks that you can participate in, putting more into your 401k because that's going to lower your taxable income. Therefore, you pay less to Uncle Sam.
Okay, and you get a bonus out of that too.
That's right. That's right. Because you put that money into your 401k, you're not paying taxes on that money while you're deferring.
Okay, let's talk about withholdings because people just say, yeah, they're numbers in a box, but those numbers tell you how much is taken out and how much you're going to owe at the end, really.
Basically, for example, a lot of people who maybe are married and their children are growing, they've forgotten to actually change their withholding. They're empty nesters, or their children went to college and maybe their children are now working and they can't use them as exemption or deductions. That definitely changes how their tax return is going to be. They really need to, on a yearly basis, really remember to go back to your HR department and take a look and maybe do another W-4 so that you can change those withholdings.
Okay, great advice, and we'll be talking to you through the evening. We are at 477-9480, or you can also email us, money@cnycentral.com. Back to you, Matt and Megan.
All right, Laura, thank you. Well, the Samaritan Center is open today for the first time in their new building. Hundreds of donations helped them raise the nearly $1.5 million to buy the old St. John the Evangelist Church on Syracuse's north side. The new larger location has a kitchen and a family area for seating to help feed thousands of hungry Central New Yorkers.
A Central New York native is being investigated by the FBI for running what they called a Ponzi-like scheme. Several prominent figures in our area made investments that are now being called into question. By now, Alex Dunbar joins us in studio with more about how this man, well, he's now being accused of investment fraud. Alex.
Well, Matt, investigations by the FBI and the Securities and Exchange Commission are focusing on a Syracuse native and an investment fund that received money from some of the best known and most influential people here in central New York. 39-year-old Syracuse native Gregory Gray was charged with securities fraud, wire fraud, and perjury. The Securities and Exchange Commission says he ran a, quote, Ponzi-like scheme where he used money from different funds to pay investors in other funds. Onondaga County Legislature Chairman Ryan McMahon and former State Senate candidate Andrew Russo invested with Gray and also recruited other investors for him, including the husband of Onondaga County Executive Joni Mahoney, attorney and former pro football player Tim Green, and sports columnist Bud Poliquin also invested. Gray denies running a Ponzi scheme and says he and his lawyer are continuing to work with the FBI and the SEC, and he does not believe any Syracuse investors lost any money. We will have more from our conversation with Gregory Gray about the accusations coming up tonight at 6 p.m.
Yeah, he does speak with us. We will hear what he has to say.
Yeah, some prominent names involved. Thank you, Alex. Still ahead on NBC 3 News at 5. A Central New York cheese plant is shutting its doors soon. They also make some pretty good dip. Not really pretty good, it's something else.
Delicious.
Right? The closure is affecting the town of Syracuse, whether you should start stocking up on their products or not.
And the number of breast cancer cases is set to rise in the coming decades. We'll tell you which group of women are even more at risk.
That's CNY Central's giving you the chance to get big discounts for restaurants, shops, and businesses. Today's deal is for Delofio's Restaurant. Find it at cnycentral.com.
Well, for the most part, not a bad-looking day today. Had a few showers around here and there, but now we're looking at a more important line of showers and thunderstorms approaching from the west with a cold front. And, of course, we've got a brand-new week of weather ahead. I think we're going to find it a little bit unsettled and certainly cooler, I think, than last week. So let's start out with what's going on right now, then we'll look cooler week ahead. That's the latest from the weather outside.
Thank you, Wayne. Nearly 70 people will lose their job when Hell of a Good Cheese, the packing plant, closes this summer in Syracuse. The closure comes after an agreement between the owner of the plant, H.P. Hood, and Schreiber Foods. The company says they've had to make changes because of the competition in the cheese business. Now, the plant's located in Syracuse in Wayne County. It has employed New Yorkers since 1925. Our own Alex Rusilla visited the plant today and has more on what this closing will mean for the town.
While the flag here says open, soon this Hell of a Good store will be reporting from Syracuse in Wayne County. I'm Alex Rusilla.
It's really difficult for those workers.
It is. Jobs will be safe at 13 remaining H.P. Hood plants, including Wolcott and Oneida. And as a shout out to the employees and the workers, we got a little bit of bodacious onion dip here.
It's delicious.
And this is Hell of a Good, which one is it? Extra sharp cheddar cheese. You're going to taste it. I want to try the dip before we have to move on here.
Everybody at home knows how good this stuff is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
They still got it.
We'll keep eating.
We're glad there'll at least be some jobs still in our backyard.
Coming up on NBC 3 News at 5. You may have heard married people are happier than single people. Tonight we'll tell you how being married could positively affect your life later on.
And don't forget, we're here to help your finances, get them in order. Our panel of experts is standing by to take your calls. Still trying to chew this cheese. It's not easy to do this. We'll be here till 6:30 tonight. We'll be back with more.
Months. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Innovation that excites.
Happening right now, it's the week after taxes were due. How about putting your finances in order now that you've had a chance to take a breath? Our experts are standing by tonight.
Laura Hand is in the CNY Central newsroom right now, answering your calls. Laura?
That's right. Phones are really busy, and just in the last block, you talked about layoffs coming at an area company. That's happening a lot, and one of the things that you need to do if you might have a life-changing event like that is to make some plans. Yvonne Norelli joins us right now. on 6:30 this evening, 477-9480, or you can email us at money@cnycentral.com. Back to you.
All right, great information, Laura. Thank you. Now on to your health checkup tonight on NBC3 News at 5. Are you married? If so, you're probably more satisfied than your single friends. But new research finds the happiest married couples are those who choose their best friend. Researchers found people who say their partner is their best friend found the well-being effects of their marriage doubled. And this does hold true even as people reach their 40s and 50s, when happiness tends to decrease in life. This happiness bump seems to also occur in those who aren't married but do live together.
New studies suggest the number of breast cancer cases is expected to rise as baby boomers age. Over the next several decades, millions of women who were born between 1946 and 1964 will face an increased risk for breast cancer because of their age. Researchers at the National Cancer Institute predict cases will increase by as much as 50% by the year 2030. Experts say it's due to the rising rates of a type of breast cancer called estrogen receptor positive breast cancer.
Still ahead, new at 6 tonight. We'll hear more from the man who's accused of running a Ponzi-like scheme across central New York, why he says he didn't know what he was doing. That's ahead at 6. But first, Laura.
On college campuses, coming up on final exams and a time of stress. At Syracuse University, a statement on that stress today and what to do about it. I'm Laura Hand with the story coming up.
That's next on NBC3 News at 5:30.